Electricast.
It's Missing the Point. It's a very special Missing the Point. As the collectively here on the podcast, we're all very upset that the football season's over. So to just juice the teat of the sport of American football a little bit more, I have the entire cast of Missing the Point here to do a fun little draft show. We, across the four of us, myself, Rayshon Buchanan, Mike Marcangelo, Robert Kelly, we're all here. We have three teams that we are fans of in the NFL. I'm a Bears fan, Bobby's a Cowboys fan, and Ray and Mike are Pats fans. I mean, this is a New England-centric podcast, so obviously we have more than one of those. But I got all these fucking reprobates together to sort of do an all-time draft. See who's got the best all-time franchise is essentially what we're going for here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through our rosters. I did give everybody a list of the positions we're going to fill, and it would be too many men on the field, but it wouldn't be a full-blown 53-man roster, which Mike and Ray put together, so I had to have them cut some stuff down. They got really into the game. As Pats fans, we did have a little bit of an issue with them recording some of our lists. Me and Bobby had to put out some decoy lists to make sure that they didn't know about who we were going to put there ahead of time. But Mike was outside my window with a video camera. I have to assume that's why. I fucking hope that's why. But since we're here, all jokes aside, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna tell you who I think the best guy in each position for the Chicago Bears all time is. Mike and Ray, as a team, because they're Pats fans, they obviously had to stack the deck. There's two of them. As a team, they're going to do the same thing, and so is Bobby. And we're gonna at the end sort of talk about who's got the best team. We're gonna chat about it as we go. We're gonna delve into football history here. You might learn some stuff along the way. There's a lot to be said for the eras gone by, and I do hope that future generations can treat the football we watched as we enter into our middle age with the same respect that I hope we're going to treat the bygone eras of football now. So moving right into it, I'm going to tell everybody the positions just to start this whole thing off. We are going to name GMs, head coaches, quarterback. You can name a fullback if you want. You want to move that out to a secondary tight end, that's fine. Couple of running backs, couple of wide receivers, an offensive line, a defensive line, linebackers, secondary, cornerbacks, safeties, and we're also going to do kicker, punter, and kick and punt return man. So you'll sort of get it as we go, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. It seemed like everybody had a lot of fun building their teams. Is that true? It seems like you guys were having a good time actually building this roster. It does remind me, I had this book when I was a kid called NFL Greatest, and it was like a picture book sort of describing all the best players who had ever played in the NFL, and I used it to make an all Madden team. And it was a lot of fun, making the guys look like how they looked, and I feel like that's kind of what we're doing here, as grown adult men. But let's get right into it. I'll start off with the Bears. I'm going to do head coach, GM, and offense, and then I'll hand it off to one of you guys, depending on how it goes. We're just going to sort of move right along, and I'm going to just since I put the format of the show together, I'll go first just to sort of show you guys how I envisioned it as far as like time on each position, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, my GM is a man named Jim Finks. He, if you don't know who that is, he was also the GM for the Minnesota Vikings. But when he was the GM for the Chicago Bears, he built none other than the 1985 Bears team. He came in the 70s. His first act as a GM was to draft a young man as second overall pick behind the Patriots, funny enough. Second overall pick that year, 1975, a young Walter Payton, who will, spoiler alert, also be coming up on my list a little bit later. He built the entire 85 Bears defense, which in my opinion is the best single season defense in the history of the NFL. I'm a little biased, but that is what I think. I think it's the best defense to ever feature in a Super Bowl. That's for sure. Super Bowl 20. And Jim Finks was he was an emotional guy. He was a wonderful GM. He did rage quit the team because George Halas appointed Mike Ditka as the head coach without talking to him. And obviously he took Jim Finks' team on to do a Super Bowl shuffle and win a championship against the Patriots by a lot of points. But Jim Finks, I think he's our best ever GM. I'm hoping that Ryan Poles pips him and builds the current generation of Chicago Bears, maybe in his image, but very similar story. He came in with a lackluster Bears team. We hadn't had a winning season in about a decade. And he went on to build one of my favorite all-time teams. Moving right along, my head coach might be a little weird. It's going to be George Halas. He did everything on the Chicago Bears. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's Papa Bear. He's very famous. The NFC Championship trophy is named after him, which is fucking ridiculous that the Packers get the Lombardi trophy and we get this. It's stupid. But okay, I'm pretty sure Vince Lombardi hit his kids, but whatever. So who's sign of the times. But George Halas, Papa Bear, he was a stud athlete. He was a Rose Bowl MVP. He played right field for the New York Yankees. The guy who replaced him on the New York Yankees was a man named Babe Ruth. Little fun fact for you there. He was the first ever sole owner of the Chicago Bears. He won 6 championships as the Bears head coach. There's only ever been 2 Bears owners, him and his daughter. He definitely wins in the My Dad Could Beat Your Dad Up contest of my owner is definitely the best athlete that's ever owned a professional sports team. Well, I guess Michael Jordan did own a team. So let's just say NFL. But yeah, he was the Rose Bowl MVP. He's in the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Papa Bear George Halas. He's a big deal if you're a Chicago Bears fan, and he's our head coach because he had winning seasons every single time he coached the Bears. So, and he also held the record for longest ever fumble recovery for a touchdown for 49 years. When he returned a 98-yard fumble for a touchdown when he was playing defensive end. So that's fun. My QB, you guys had speculation on who my QB was going to be. Ray seemed convinced it was going to be the one-eyed man, the king, Jim McMahon. No. I think, Mike, you said possibly Jay Cutler, and I think he does hold a lot of Bears records for passing. But no, it is going to be young Sid Luckman, the greatest quarterback of the 1940s. As we're errorless here, I mean, you can laugh, but let me tell you his stats. Let me tell you
it's just the delivery. It's just the delivery.
It's great. I love it.
Sid Luckman, in an era where, they didn't really throw the ball, holds the number 1 touchdown percentage still to this day. Passes thrown that were touchdowns. 7.9% of his passes were touchdowns. For relevance, Patrick Mahomes is about 6.1%. So, yeah, they passed the ball a lot more, but he threw a shitload of fucking TDs. He was NFL MVP one year, and he is tied with like 6 other guys, I think, for most TDs in a single game when he threw 7 touchdowns. So, Sid Luckman, one of the best to ever do it. Did he have a leather helmet? Sure. But we got to respect those bygone eras. I have to say, I love the guy. I was really enjoying watching his highlights hearing tell of his highlights, really. So moving right along, I don't know if you guys, just to spoil a little bit ahead, are you guys going to play fullbacks? You guys have a fullback in your team?
No.
Oh, yeah. No fullback? All right. Bobby's got a fullback. Love it. I'm going to put Bronco Nagurski in my team because he's a 3-time NFL champion, a 4-time first team All-Pro, NFL rushing touchdowns leader for the 1932 season. His number is retired by the Chicago Bears. He was a consensus All-American in 29. First team All Big Ten when he was in college. He rushed for 2,778 yards, had 25 rushing touchdowns, 11 receiving touchdowns. Yes, it was a long time, but man, if you took Bronco Nagurski's picture and showed it to the world, they would tell you that man played fullback in the National Football League. He was, it's a time in the era where if you were playing fullback, you were also playing linebacker, like it was high school or something. But Bronco Nagurski is going to be my fullback. He's going to do a lot of blocking. He's 6'2", 230. He's going to do some good blocks for me, obviously era relevant, but he's also able to run the ball. He's a traditional fullback in every way. And he adds to the theme of what I was going for with this team, which is grit, toughness, and things of that ilk. And, it's going to be a lot of rubbing dirt in it and fucking spitting on the floor and running it out. And I think my team's going to be really hard to play when it comes to toughness because I have the likes of Bronco Nagurski, a fullback. My running back 1, this might surprise a lot of people, or it might not. It's Walter Payton. Obviously, he's the greatest Bear of all time. Not a ton needs to be said about him. I think he's the best running back to ever play the game. I think that people could maybe disagree with me there, but I think you'd have a hard time not putting him top 5. Obviously, his life was tragically cut short, and his career wasn't even really that long in retrospect. But again, running backs don't really play for that long in the NFL due to the wear and tear on their bodies. But It is a tragic story. There's an award named after him. I think he's the best Bear to ever play the game. I think he's consensus best ever Bear. I never met someone who has a bad word to say about him that watched him play, or knew the kind of guy he was. His kid seems like a cool guy. He's always around the Man of the Year award stuff, and there's nothing I can say about Walter Payton that hasn't already been said. So everybody knows who he is. He's my running back one. My ground game is going to be fucking lethal, especially with old City Luckman handing the ball off. We're going to give him a real uniform, so don't worry about that. Going to give him a real helmet, maybe one of the Revolution helmets. Who knows? It'll fuck with him. We're going to have to tell him about civil rights, so that's going to be tough. But once we get him past that, he's going to play some great. He's going to play some great football with the Walter Payton. Because there is a lot more black guys on his team than he was used to. I have to put that out there.
Probably than he's ever met in his life. Probably than he ever met.
Yeah. And you have to share a locker room. There's like a lot going on. So we have to talk City Luckman through some stuff. But I think we can get him up to speed. I'd like to believe
he'll get along great with Jerry Jones.
Well, I don't know, Bobby. You kept fading out, but when I was talking about my head coach, Papa Bear George Hallis, he was playing right field for the Yankees when your owner was fucking yelling at little black girls just trying to go to school. So I'm already a little ahead of you. I didn't expect this show to go down this road, but
I did.
You brought it there, bro. You brought it there.
My RB2 just to add a little spice into it, a different play style. It's going to be Gale Sayers. I wonder if at this point you guys are even surprised how good the team is so far. I'm sure you were looking at the Chicago Bears saying, I don't know, who's he going to play at QB? Is it going to be One-Eyed Jim? Is it going to be fucking Jay Cutler? No, Sid Luckman and an amazing backfield. Walter Payton, and as the second running back, the man featured in the greatest movie ever made about football players.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
You don't think Brian's Song is the best movie ever made? That makes me think you haven't seen it. Have you seen it? Now's where you haven't seen it. Yeah. Why don't you go fucking watch Brian's Song and then come back to me in tears still, weeping openly, and tell me what's the greatest football movie ever made? Because it sure as shit isn't fucking Remember the Titans. Although, that's a good one.
No, Shane Falco.
We're just talking about civil rights today.
Well, Remember the Titans hardly fucking solved racism, right? I mean, but yeah,
oh my God.
Brian's Song aside, Gale Sayers, NFL Comeback Player of the Year in '69, Offensive Rookie of the Year in '65, 5-time First Team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowl, led the league in rushing yards twice, scoring leader once, 1960s All-Decade. The list goes on. Consensus All-American when he played in Kansas. He's that dude. And I think my backfield's absolutely fucking stacked so far. I'm going to tell you who my tight end is. You might have been surprised he wasn't the head coach because the man is in the Hall of Fame 2 times. Once as a head coach, Coach Ditka, and once as a tight end because he was also fucking savage at playing football. And if we're talking about rubbing dirt in it and fucking piss and vinegar and the toughest team we're going to talk about today in this weird hypothetical that I thought up, I'm winning the toughness award with Mike Ditka. I just fucking am. The guy is going to be an on the field leader. He's obviously one of my captains. He's got a great football brain. And again, another guy that nothing that hasn't been said can be said here. And he's still going strong. Fuck, they might put him in the Hall of Fame as an announcer at this point. He might do the full trifecta. He might do the Tommy and just get in for 3 different reasons. The man basically has his own office chair in the Hall of Fame, and it's fucking Mike Ditka, and I won't hear a bad word about him. Greatest mustache in the history of the sport. Here we are. Great tight end. Let's see. This might surprise some people. I'm going super modern. Again, he might have a little trouble hooking up with Sid Luckman, but DJ Moore is actually going to be my wide receiver 1. I really want a playmaker on this team because obviously with the backfield that I have, and some of the other offensive players you've heard about already, we're working on the ground here. We're not an air raid team. We're the Chicago Bears. We're gonna run the ball better than everybody else, and we're gonna stop the run better than everybody else. And that's how we win. That's how we win games, and that's how we win titles. But DJ Moore, I think, all you got to do is dump the ball off to him, and he'll make a play. He might not be the best deep threat in the world due to his stature, but we're moving within the sticks here. That's how this team's playing, and I think DJ fits right in. We're gonna need an option if we want to go long, and we're gonna need a guy who's gonna be physical. I know some of the secondary guys you guys are gonna bring up are gonna have trouble covering Brandon Marshall. We talked about it a little bit before we got on the show. An advocate for mental health, a guy that did, like you said, Mike, went and got help when his brain was going frizzy on him. And I think as far as bottled talent goes, one of the most full bottles of talent that I've ever seen, a physical fucking specimen, and caught some passes from Jay Cutler that frankly had no business being thrown. So I do love me some Brandon Marshall. I'm gonna power through my offensive line because I love the guys, and it is again on the theme of toughness, grit, and running plays. We're gonna move a lot on the ground. We do have options, but we're gonna have to push the ball. We're playing trench warfare here in the Bears all-time team. So I'm just gonna power right through so we can get through to everybody. Not that I don't have a ton of respect for the offensive line. They're obviously very, very important, but they are unsung heroes, so they're gonna be used to this. Left guard's gonna be Mark Bortz. Left tackle is gonna be Jimbo Covert. He's a Hall of Famer. Center's going to be Olin Kreutz, who you guys might remember. He played for the Bears for about 15 years. I think he was the best center in the league for about 4 of those years. And he, I think, should get into the Hall of Fame. But as we all know, centers don't really feature in that all that often. It's tough to get in. Let's see. My right tackle is going to be Keith Van Horn, not to be confused with the NBA player. There's an E at the end, much like my name. And Revi Sori is going to be my right guard. It's really a trench warfare team. We're moving it really, really well on the ground. And that's my offense. That's my offense, my GM and my head coach. It's really, I'm going to kind of encourage the team as the owner. I'm going to encourage the team to play dirty. There's going to be thumbs and eyes. There's going to be a lot of shit talking. And I want to make sure that if we don't win a game, although I don't really want to introduce that, if we don't win a game, half your fucking team is going to be real banged up on the way home. And when I tell you about my defense, guys, this offense is out there to supplement my defense, right? We are going to move on to another team before we talk about the all-time Bears defense, but I'm going to have trouble believing that you guys have a better all-time defense than I do, but we'll see. What will happen, though, is I want you, if you're coming to play my Bears team, that your physio room, your healthcare providers bring a lot of bandages, and you might want to bring a psychiatrist because, quite frankly, you're going to be upset leaving. I mean, even Sid Luckman's opinions alone are going to probably fucking upset you on the way out. We're going to play dirty. We're going to play mean. And we're going to move the fucking ball on you because we're the Chicago Bears,
put you in
baby.
a mental home.
Yeah,
Right,
we're the fucking
Oh,
Chicago Bears, son. The Monsters of the Midway. George Halas coached a team that beat the Washington Redskins. And yes, they were still called the Redskins back then. We're going to have to talk to Luckman about that too. He beat the Washington Redskins 73-0 in 1940. And that team was known as the Monsters of the Midway. I think we might have a little repeat on our hands. The Monsters of the Midway are coming for you, boys. The New England Patriots, I would love to hear about your offense, and I think I can guess who's playing QB.
Okay, so our head coach, obviously, Bill Belichick.
Your
right?
GM, Bill
I would say-
Belichick.
yeah. No, fuck no.
If they made Bill Belichick the GM, all the players would just be like third round
Just
picks
wide
you've never heard
receivers.
of.
Yeah.
All the wide
And-
receivers just fall from the list.
We've talked at nauseum about Bill Belichick in this pod. So the GM is going to be Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells was not the GM for a very long time, but I just want to give you guys a recap of his draft picks from 93, 94, 95, 96. 93 first overall pick, Drew Bledsoe. 8th round, Troy Brown. 94 draft, Willie McGinnis. 95 draft, Ty Law, Curtis Martin. 96, Terry Glenn, Lawyer Malloy, Teddy Bruschi. Some of those players you
So he
will hear
built the
later.
first ever great Patriots team that you saw in your lifetime, the entire one. Can Bill
Correct.
work under him? Can Bill work under him again after all?
He did.
After
did.
all this time, now that he's Bill Belichick, though, you know?
Yeah, I think you can because they
Well,
think
you're
alike.
hypothetical, Mike, so I fucking hope so.
It's our hypothetical. For offense, obviously, quarterback, the GOAT, Tom Brady. I don't think we need to talk anything more besides the fact that he won 6 Super Bowls with us, went to 9 Super Bowls with us, and set
That's good. That's
at the
that's a
time
good amount.
the single season record for touchdowns in 2007. Our RB1, Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin is a forgotten about Patriot. I would say, especially all these young kids, they don't know what he did. In 3 seasons with us, he rushed for 3,800 yards, scored 37 touchdowns, and averaged 4.3 yards per carry back in the mid 90s when defense was the focal point. This guy was electric. He was one of the top 5 running backs in the league for all the years that he played, but especially for his first 3 here with New England.
Surprised it wasn't Corey Dillon. I'll be honest with you. That's who I was.
Our RB2 is Corey Dillon.
Okay.
Obviously, for all the things that he did in that 2004 season, breaking all of Curtis Martin's records. He
broke all of the man's records, and he still has to play behind him. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
No Robert Edwards, guys. No Robert Edwards.
No, this is
The guy that tore his ACL on the fucking beach. No way.
Yeah,
On the
we're not
beach
doing
game. Come on.
that. Wide receiver 1, Randy Moss. If for no other reason than for the 2007 season when he broke Jerry Rice's all-time record for most touchdowns.
Pretty good.
You think about this. He was here for 3 full seasons, and then 4 other games. He caught 260 passes for almost 4,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. And
he's got the guy throwing to him that he did that with. So that's something.
Yep.
Can I ask you, and this isn't part of the game, but I'm just curious, if you had to pick a year to have Tom Brady be your QB, like which Brady year would you pick?
That's a great question. It's honestly it's between 2010 or 2007 for me.
Because I was gonna say, like, if it were me, like, I think his best ever
yeah.
year was 2007, right? But what, like, that had a lot to do with Moss, but Moss is on the fucking team, so it's fine.
Right.
The 2007 Brady was a man on a mission, though.
Yeah.
That dude was something else.
Yeah, but 2010 Brady won. I think he won league MVP that year, throwing to basically just Wes Welker. And that was the first year of Gronk.
Was the year where he had the most like experience and his arm hadn't fallen off at all yet. Like he could still throw the deep ball because like that Falcon Super Bowl, he still had an arm. Like he didn't resort to like strictly checkdowns, or like 20 yards or less plays. I think, and that's like his most experienced year, right? That's why he's able to make that comeback because he knows the game so well by that point, right? So,
But even with the Seattle Super Bowl too, like he was amazing.
well, I mean, you guys
quarter.
got handed that one.
No,
You should've
but I
lost
mean,
it.
but to be down 10 though in the fourth with that defense who had just beat Peyton Manning 43-8 the year before, and I was like, that wasn't going to happen against us. Like they may beat us, but I was like, we're not going to get beat by 30. That's not happening. So he came in there, gets to 10 in the fourth. Obviously, yes, Pete Carroll, thank you. You're a legend in New England just for that alone. So we appreciate you.
I will also say we've talked
yeah,
about that Super Bowl a lot. Belichick did put out the goal line defense in that moment, and he did fuck with Pete Carroll. I just was watching a doc about this recently, and he did put out the goal line defense and fuck with Pete Carroll's like play calling, and like it wasn't like the smartest thing in the world to do. Like you could have just given it to Marshawn Lynch. Like obviously everybody knows that, but that goal line defense and like they had run rehearsals on that play, like in practice.
Exactly.
So,
right.
I will say like he deserves more credit than maybe he gets for winning that game. But anyway, sorry to have derailed it. I was just curious.
So wide receiver 2, Julian Edelman. I think when you talk about all-time clutch performances by New England Patriot wide receivers, it's Jules. And for that Atlanta Falcons comeback, that should not have been caught. Like he was draped by 3 defenders, still caught it. Every big game from 2013 until he retired that we were ever in, he had the biggest catch, and he could do everything. He could go over the middle. So you got Moss taking the top off the defense. You get Edelman over the middle, and because we did not choose a fullback, we picked the 2 greatest blocking tight ends and receiving tight ends in Patriot history. So it's not going to be a murderer's row. Don't worry, TK. Tight end 1.
Gonna say
Tight end 1 is obviously Gronk. I mean, Rob Gronkowski. Everyone, Travis Kelce is a great tight end.
I still think he's the best tight end of all time.
But like you said before, like in his prime, Gronk was a cheat code. You just could not stop him. He was one of the, like I said, one of the best blocking tight ends. And then his predecessor, Ben Coates. Ben Coates, like that connection from Ben Coates and Drew Bledsoe back in the early 90s or in the mid 90s was electric then. Can you imagine what it would be like if Tom Brady's now throwing him the ball and not some, I used to love Drew, but Drew just stood in the pocket and got hit all the time. That's all he did was get sacked. Now you got Brady, who has probably the best pocket awareness. So
you want to arm Brady with tight end because, like the man knows how to use tight end.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? And these aren't criticisms. I'm just curious as to your thought processes, like as you were making the team. Was Wes Welker considered over Julian Edelman, or was Julian Edelman always going to be your wide receiver 1? Okay. And was Deion Branch considered as a wide receiver 3 before you took a second tight end?
So for me, yes, because obviously Branch was also clutch in the postseason for us, and he's had big moments even with his second stint here in New England. He did really well. He clearly was a Brady guy. Like Brady loved him. Like he took less money at some point just to keep playing with Deion Branch, but then Deion Branch got dealt to Seattle. So yeah, he was in recognition, but like I said, what Julian Edelman did in the postseason, it's not really rivaled by many in this organization. We did have an honorable mention at tight end. We went to the old school with Russ Francis. Someone like he was excellent in that time with Jim Plunkett, and but he wasn't better than Coates or
Did Dante
or
Stallworth come up at all at wide receiver?
No,
No,
no, no. He,
stop
he,
that.
he was good here, but no, he wasn't someone that.
I mean, he was really fucking talented. I
No,
mean,
no, he
maybe
was
on
he
the
was he was
Pats,
he was
but
awesome.
for the
He was
Pats,
awesome,
though.
but
not
for the
on the
Pats.
Pats. Not on the Pats. I get
Yeah.
that. And that was one of the rules.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
Yeah.
would have thought he might have come up even fleetingly in conversation.
But would
No.
you put him above Branch though?
No. I mean,
Yeah.
from what I watched,
You got Branch. You still got Givens that you could have put on that list
Yeah.
too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Patton.
Right. So yeah. So it's like once again, if Dave let us keep the 53-man roster, sure.
I know. I mean, we all got stuff to do.
What I'm saying? We would have been fine, but no.
I don't even pick the full 53 in Madden, bro. I sim after like
Yeah.
round 41. You know what I mean? Come on, like
Oh, I make the full 53 in Madden. I'm like
Yeah,
real
you know,
concerned
so-
about my long snapper when I'm playing Madden. I'm like, fuck that, dude. I'm not trying to fuck anything up. But yeah.
Right.
I mean, I
Yeah,
was just
exactly.
curious. Like, obviously, we all grew up in New England. I wasn't a Pats fan, but I watched a lot of these guys play. So as I was making my team, I was thinking about how it was going to go with your team, and I thought wide receiver might be a place coming into the show. I mean, I guess now that you've said it, it does make sense why the guys are there that are there. But I thought wide receiver might have been a place where you might have had a couple guys in your heart that you really wanted to put in there. It might have been some points of contention, but. Why didn't Aaron Hernandez make the tight end spot? I mean, he might have been your second best ever tight end. I'm sorry,
If he-
you
that
killed
dude
that
was
guy.
killing.
I
He
mean,
was killing.
had no, but I mean, yeah, had he played, obviously, like
Cheap jokes.
Yeah, he absolutely would have been that, but
Right.
obviously, it didn't turn out that way, for him. So, but yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, keep going, Mike.
Also, given what we expected to go up against by each of your squad's defense, I think we put together the best offensive line that we could ever put together. I ran the calculations myself by doing the best year that they each had and sacks that they each allowed in that season. This offensive line would allow 4 sacks total. So at right guard, we have John Hanna. At right tackle, we have Matt Light. At center, we have Dan Copen. Left guard, Logan Mankins. And left tackle, Bruce Armstrong. You're just not getting through that line.
Well,
Not gonna
my
happen.
defense is getting through that line. I think
My defense might be able to get
to me
through it, too.
you just named the menu for my defensive line, what they're gonna fucking eat that day. But like that's fine. I mean, all good. I actually there is no team whose great offensive linemen over the course of the time I spent watching them were better than the New England Patriots. In fact, before Brady went on to win 7 total, one of the things you could kind of lay at him for a few years when he had 1 or 2 was, I mean, the dude always has 10 fucking minutes in the pocket, right? I think a big part of the reason he was able to develop into the quarterback he was is because of the protection that he had. It was very strange to watch Mac Jones have 0 fucking protection in the pocket when it seemed to me like Bill Belichick was a proponent of giving his young QBs time. Maybe not Drew Bledsoe, like you said. The reason, him getting sacked is the reason you had the best QB of all time play for your team. But that being said, yeah, I definitely totally agree that is a fucking stacked offensive line. And I really can't wait for my defensive line to murder them. Anyway, sorry, go on.
That's all we got.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, I forgot we weren't doing anything else. Bobby's
the
turn.
01 through 04. Yeah, the 01 through 04 stretch for that O line they were so fucking good.
Matt Light, I mean, I think, the Mike's line, that's Bill Belichick's line, is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. But you always say your best ability is your availability. And I think Matt Light was just always there for that stretch, right? Like he just
Right.
played so many games in a position where you do get beat up, like consistently beat up. So
And Logan Mankins had the greatest return of any lineman ever. That's 71. Yeah.
I think Bill had a lot of
good.
respect for the line for O linemen. I think that he sort of built his teams again up until recently for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
But he always built his teams around the fact that he was going to get protection for his quarterback and he was going to be able to push the trenches with his running backs. But I'm really excited to see the Cowboys, Bob, because I was obviously thinking about what your team was going to look like. Apparently, before you talked to Mike, and he told you like not to just put CeeDee Lamb on there. But I thank God you guys spoke. But yeah, you are a Dallas Cowboys fan, and there was eras where the Cowboys weren't Barnum and Bailey's fucking Ringling Circus. They were actually a legitimate franchise that played decent football, believe it or not, our younger listeners. So, in that being said, I was starting to think about Cowboys that could possibly litter your offense, and you could build a pretty stacked fucking team. And luckily for you, you don't have to talk to your quarterback about race relations in America. So, hit us with your GM, head coach, and your entire offense, if you please.
Absolutely. So starting out GM, I think probably one of the more underrated GMs of the Cowboys era, maybe all time, is my guy Jimmy Johnson. I really thought about putting him as head coach.
I thought you were going to put him as head coach.
But he is the architect of that early 90s team. He started out with that Herschel Walker trade, the most lopsided trade in maybe sports history. So I feel like that automatically puts him as that top GM for me. The other obvious choice was fucking Jerry Jones. So let's be real here. Head coach, maybe, top 5 head coach of all time, was the only coach of the Cowboys until Jimmy Johnson took the team over. And that is Mr. Cowboy, Tom Landry, with his nice fancy hat on the sideline. So Landry's going to be roaming the sidelines for us.
All-time great joke. All-time great joke is King of the Hill. The school that Bobby Hill goes to is Tom Landry Middle School. All-time great joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Top notch. Quarterback, guys. I had a tough decision here. Okay.
He's gonna say Aikman, and we're gonna fucking savage him for it. That's what's gonna happen here.
Listen. So it obviously is between Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman. Those are my two guys I'm choosing between. The reason I want to lean towards Aikman over Staubach is because of the type of offense that I'm going to be running.
That's fair.
I just don't know if Staubach can adapt to the wide receiver talent and to the air raid offense that I plan on putting in. I know Aikman necessarily didn't have that type of offense either, but I think he's more capable of being able to run this offense that we're going to have. So I am going to go Troy Aikman over Roger Staubach. I originally did have Staubach here, but I was sitting here and I was like, man, I just think Aikman can run this offense a little better because I'm only carrying.
If you got Jimmy Johnson in there, they're old friends. You want to keep the band together, right?
Right. Exactly. And so the reason, though, is because I'm only carrying one running back, and that is the all-time leading rusher in the NFL, Emmitt Smith. I am leaving Tony Dorsett off, unfortunately, and there is a good reason for that. I'll get to that once we get to wide receivers. Then we have our fullback, the Moose, Daryl Johnson, leading the way for Mr. Emmitt Smith. When we do decide to run, we are going to have a power run game with maybe the greatest fullback of all time, lead blocking for maybe one of the greatest running backs of all time. Then our wide receivers, guys, we're going with the 88 club up and down the board. So we have Michael Irvin, CeeDee Lamb, and Drew Pearson. All three of them running 3 wide receivers all day.
Wait. I got to poke a giant hole in this. Who gets the jersey?
They all wear it, bro. They're all wearing 88s across the board.
Your team's already stupid. You got 3 guys wearing the same jersey.
All 3 of them, baby. 88 club. Come on. This is all-time Cowboys. We can't change the 88 club, bro.
I mean, you got 3 guys in the same jersey.
It's got to be the OG, though.
Your fucking equipment manager's like, what are you talking about right now? Who's your equipment manager, by the way? Did you pick one? All right, sorry, go on.
88s across the board, baby. 88s. I can't think of a secondary that's going to be able to stop them. We have legitimately 2 already Hall of Fame wide receivers.
I thankfully did think of a secondary that's going to be able to stop them. They're on my list right now. It's going to be great. I did it for you. No problem.
We'll see, because even when it does get to a 3rd down and 5 or 6, we got Mr. Reliable, Jason Witten, who always picks up that 1st down for us every single time as our tight end. All right, so we got the 88 club, and then we got Mr. Reliable as our tight end, getting all the 1st downs, bro. Offensive line, we have maybe a combo of 2 of the best offensive lines that football has ever seen. So our left tackle, Tyron Smith, who is just an all-pro literally since I pretty much started watching the Cowboys. Our right tackle, throwing it back to the 90s, Mark Tooney. Left guard, Larry Allen. Again, throwing it back to the 90s.
Great player. I love Larry
Right guard, Zach Martin. And then center, maybe one of the best centers of all time, Travis Frederick.
Yeah,
Your offense
I
sucks,
don't
dude.
know
That's
how
a
you
good
guys are going to
that's a
be
really
able
good
to
line,
stop
though.
this offense.
You know what I really do
that's
like
Rolando.
so far about hearing about the three offenses? I really like that we have the beginning, middle, and end, right? We have the three bears of offenses. I'm running the fuck out of the ball, right? I'm playing smash mouth football. Mike and Ray are playing sort of the traditional Patriots check down, 10-yard passes, like death by 1,000 cuts sort of offense. And Bobby is throwing to the end zone every single fucking play. So
Let's fucking go.
I really like that. I really enjoy it. I think it's a really cool rock, paper, scissors that it illustrates the thing I was kind of trying to go for this kind of game, right? Which is, and I do hope we turn this into a series where we've done our favorite teams now and we can go on and keep playing this game where we pick a different franchise and build all-time teams out of it. And
Let's do it.
yeah, we sort of look back and, it's hard to do. It's easy to do your own team in certain ways because, you obviously watched a lot of these guys play, but it's hard in the sense of like, you can't be as ruthless and as cutthroat about it. And especially on the defensive side of the ball, I just had a tough time not putting all my favorite guys in, even if they weren't necessarily the best. But what's really cool about, I think, these three offenses is there is a really sweet rock, paper, scissors element to it. And once we hear about the defenses, maybe we can talk about like what the matchups will look like when we put these players on the field against each other. But I think it's really cool to see essentially the DNA of the Patriots, the DNA of the Bears, and the DNA of the Cowboys sort of laid bare for us, because if you want your team to be good now, I think you have to play the way your franchise is built. I don't think you can change your franchise identity if you're a fan of the Chicago Bears, the Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots. Now, if we do this again and one of us has to pick the Arizona Cardinals, it's like, you can change your identity. Don't worry. Like, you haven't fucking found one yet. Like, I think that will be revealed. I think if we do like an all-time Arizona Cardinals, you'll be like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, they don't really have any sort of franchise, like, kind of, moxie, right? And I think that's a really cool thing that I thought would be revealed when we did the show. And it kind of has been so far. Not so much on the offensive side of the ball for the Bears, but now that we're moving on to the defensive side of the ball for the Bears, I've got a fucking lovely set of players to name you guys. They really are just, they're just such a great crew of fucking motherfuckers, I swear. Got really excited about this part of the whole thing. So I'm going to play the 46 defense. It's going to be a little bit of like an edited 46 defense in order to keep up with the sort of modern football that you guys are going to be playing against me. I'm only going to play one D tackle. And that's because all my linebackers are so fucking fast and efficient that I don't necessarily need to stop the run on the line of scrimmage. So Richard Dent, Hall of Famer, very famous. Don't know if you guys have heard of him, but Richard Dent is my defensive tackle. He's going to be stopping the run. He's also he was a D end. But I'm going to play him at nose tackle because he was super fucking fast, and my game is all going to be about pressuring the quarterback. I'm just going to bring insane pressure on the quarterback every single time. Now, the rock to my scissors might be how good the Patriots offensive line is. We'll have to see when I build these three teams out in Madden and do Sims. But the Richard Dent of it all, I had too many good edge rushers. I couldn't choose from all my edge rushers. Richard Dent is high up on the list of all-time Bears, and I needed to get him in there. So he's going to be my D tackle. Julius Peppers and Khalil Mack are going to be my edge rushers, which I have to say, like, good fucking luck, guys. I genuinely think that we should bring the police to the stadium because murder charges might actually come up, and nobody wants to see Tom Brady die. We might be cool with seeing Troy Aikman, but nobody wants to see Tom Brady die. I mean, he's the goddamn GOAT. And I don't know. I mean, it depends on what era's rules we're playing here, but they're going to try to hit him low. So, I mean, Troy
Aikman was the 90s version of Tua, by the way. So we'll see if he makes it out alive.
I mean, it's your offensive line is good. It's not as good as their offensive line. So I'm feeling pretty good coming after the Cowboys QB right now. And it's not as if Troy Aikman was ever that mobile. So at least not against guys like that. So I'm really excited for my edge rushers, but I'm even more excited for my linebackers. God damn, this is some fucking core linebackers. I'm going to play two middle linebackers, and those two guys are going to be none other than, I mean, you guessed one, Brian Urlacher, my all-time favorite Bear. I think the best coverage linebacker in the history of the sport. He's a Hall of Famer as of recently, but he played fairly recently. He was first ballot. You guys seem to think I give a fuck about who he votes for. I don't. He's still my all-time favorite Bear. Don't give a shit what he feels about fucking vaccines. Saw the man deliver some of my most fucking famous hits. Loved him. Scored a lot of touchdowns for the Bears. Believe it or not, he scored a receiving touchdown on a quick play. Passed from my punter, who's also on my all-time team right here. And he was fucking unbelievable. I mean, he was a great tackler. He had everything. He was a 99 in Madden pretty much every single year that he played. He was defensive rookie of the year when he got drafted. He was unbelievable. I mean, he was in the conversation every single year with Ray Lewis as the two best middle linebackers in the sport. So I think it goes without saying that Brian Urlacher is my fucking middle linebacker, obviously. Bill George is going to play next to him. Bill George is the man. You may not have heard of him, but he's basically the man that invented the linebacker position. He stood up from the defensive line and decided that he would be better served playing coverage. He obviously it's era relative, but he essentially worked out the modern 4-3 defense and set records for interceptions and forced fumbles that lasted for decades. So Bill George is going to play next to Brian Urlacher. These are guys that can break off into coverage. This is why I think I'm going to do okay against this Pats team that you guys have built, because I think that my guys are specially suited. It might be hard for me to pressure your QB because, yes, your offensive line is absurdly stacked. I can't even lie about that. I want to lie about it, but I can't. But it's really going to be hard for Tom Brady to find the angles that he wants to find and the seams that he wants to find with the linebackers that I have. They're all coverage guys. They're all fast as fuck. If you do try to run the ball on me, I hope you don't, Bobby, because you only brought one guy and there's no substitutions. My other linebackers are coming for him. Dick Butkus, you may have heard of him. He famously, the Cincinnati Bengals, I think it was, or the Cleveland, Baltimore. What was it? Baltimore Colts?
Baltimore Colts.
Yeah. The Baltimore Colts, I believe it was, were on the bus on the way home after they played the Bears one season. And Butkus hurt them so fucking badly, even though his right arm was broken. When they got rear-ended by a semi-truck, everybody stopped for a second. And at the same time, they all said, Butkus? So that's a man who haunts your fucking dreams. Again, another wonderful fucking mustache. Another tough, gritty, fucking dirt in your eye motherfucker to just, it's just going to be so unpleasant to play against my team. Just so fucking unpleasant. His job is going to be to stop the run, but honestly, he was pretty fast side to side for his era too. And on the other side, Mike Singletary is going to take up that position. Obviously, a member of the greatest defense ever to grace a postseason in the 1985 Bears. Mike Singletary went on to be, I think, a little bit of an underrated coach. I don't think he got enough credit as a coach that he maybe deserved. I think his mistake in his coaching career was trying to be a head coach a little bit too fast. I think he would have been better served by being a defensive coordinator for longer and maybe staying in the college game for a little bit longer. And then, once people hear your name enough times in head coaching conversations and they don't hire you, or you have a bad season with the 49ers or whatever it is, it's tough. There's a lot of competition. But as a linebacker, pretty universally one of the best open field tacklers to ever play the game. And I really want, and this is true of the current Bears team, and it's something I saw the Patriots do really, really well for a long time. You got to finish your tackles on my team. You got to be able to make solo tackles on my team. No bullshit arm tackles. Nobody gets by you, right? So we're going to win the trench warfare battle. You've seen the linebackers. Obviously, Peanut Tillman is going to be my first cornerback off the board. Just a turnover machine. I think he basically invented punching the ball out in the most effective way possible. Everybody does the Peanut Tillman now. Yeah, he was undersized, but man, I mean, you never noticed it when he played the game. Part of that amazing 2006 Bears defense that couldn't get it done. I mean, it was Peyton Manning's year. It still breaks my heart. I love that defense. And he was one of the first names I put on the board. Everybody remembers Peanut. Everybody likes Peanut. He's universally liked, but they're not going to like him when he plays on this Bears team because we're going to be mean to you guys. Leslie Frazier, you might know him from coaching. He's going to be my second cornerback. His career was cut short by injury, but he had an amazing year in 1985. He led the team in interceptions that year. A knee injury that maybe in the modern era you could recover from, but once he got it in Super Bowl 20 is when he got that knee injury and he never played again. So he was an unbelievable corner. He put up ball hawk numbers in the 80s that would be wonderful now. They would be unbelievable ball hawk numbers now. I think he's a good coach. You see him knocking around different teams from time to time, but he was a great corner, and he's going to be my corner 2. Covering all you motherfuckers. And actually, he's pretty well suited to cover a Julian Edelman type. He was just very good at sort of reading the game, and he could sag off players and sort of, make commitments and intercept the ball late. He's really good at hiding in the secondary, which not a lot of guys were in that era. That's like a sort of a more modern thing with everybody being fucking enormous. You can sort of hide. So enjoying Leslie Frazier as my CB2. Maybe controversial call if Bears fans are listening to this. My free safety is going to be Mike Brown, who also played on that 2006 Bears team. I don't know if you guys remember him. He's a hard hitter. He's not necessarily a ball hawk, but did he fucking lay down?
He was definitely a ball hawk. He scored.
I mean, he had a surprisingly low amount of interceptions when you actually look at his stats. I also thought he actually caught more interceptions than he did. Funny enough that you say that, Ray. When I looked at him, I was like the 06 season, which is his best season for tackles, he had 0 interceptions. Funny enough. But I think that's because of the way we played and what we sort of asked him to do. It was a very pressure-heavy defense, and he was a lot of times the last line of defense. He could cover the field really well. Ray, you had actually mentioned Mike Brown before. I did know you were a fan of his coming into this. But he was fucking hard hitter, man. Like he was a really, really, really hard hitter. And I just don't want anybody to be able to move the ball on us on the ground. I think that I want that to be our identity. And that's why I put him there. And Gary Fenchick is going to be my strong safety. Again, another guy that nothing hasn't been said about Fenchick that, I can't think of anything to say about him that people haven't already said, but he was the captain of the defense in the 1985 Super Bowl. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, obviously first team All-Pro a few times, 38 interceptions in his career, 13 fumble recoveries, couple sacks, even though he was a fucking safety. And he was a member of the secondary that were nicknamed the Hitmen, which I really genuinely believe is a cool as fuck nickname for a small subset of the field. Again, the defense is just mean. They're mean. They're gritty. They're going to hurt you. And I just want to make sure whoever wins, you guys are going to want to play each other more than you play me, because I just want it to hurt. I just really, really want it to hurt. I want it to be old school fucking football. I want it to be hard headed. And I want at least one of my defensive players to get ejected from the game. So all that being said, I think I built a hard-nosed and really tough all-time Bears defense. I think that it's a franchise known for their defense, maybe not in recent seasons, but all-time, the Bears D. And fun fact, scientific fact, actually, 75% of the earth, they say, is covered by water, but the rest is covered by this Bears defense. So have fun. Try to move the ball on the ground. I fucking dare you. And as far as throwing the ball goes, I really hope that Troy Aikman and Tom Brady can release that ball very quickly, because I'm coming for that head.
So there's 3 people I could think about that you didn't name that I was like I couldn't believe wasn't on there.
Lance Briggs. He was my first honorable mention off the board.
That's wild to me. Yeah, Briggs next to Urlacher. I mean, we saw what they did. That it was amazing.
Yeah, but I don't need him. I don't need him if I got Mike Singletary.
I got you. And then R.W. McQuarters.
Yeah, very good.
Next to Tillman, and the fridge. How do you have the fridge?
I mean, the fridge, bro. Here's the thing about the fridge, guys. I hate.
You don't want him stealing touchdowns from Walter.
I love it. I do. I genuinely do love it. But he was a little bit of a personality hire. He was a wonderful player, but as far as I only had 1 D tackle. First off, and I'm gonna
as the fullback. Could have as a fullback.
I got Bronco. Bronco's famous. Everybody knows Bronco. I mean, I'm trying to build an identity of a team here in the fridge. Quite frankly, he's bringing too many jokes to the fucking locker room. This is a serious team full of mean motherfuckers. I don't know if he's going to blend. I genuinely don't. He's too jovial. And as far as him scoring touchdowns,
relief, bro.
Huh?
You need some comic relief, though.
I think it's going to be Sid Luckman talking to literally anyone. I think that's going to be comic relief. I really do.
Oh my God.
I mean, Christ, just think about the poor catering staff. If there's any women on it, it's gonna be tough. He's gonna be pinching asses and fucking winking all the way to the fucking Super Bowl. Who knows? I mean, he might be really progressive. I don't know. I don't know his political views, genuinely. But it was the 1940s. I don't know. But the man the man served his country in the Navy. All right, that's all I'm saying. He was a big deal. But yeah, as far as the refrigerator Perry goes, of course, I love the refrigerator Perry. I love Will Perry. Every Bears fan does. But I just don't think skill-wise, I just don't think he makes the team. But I do see what you're saying.
Okay, I think that you're going to be very surprised by the defense that Ray has put together.
Oh wait, should I tell you my special teams now, or should we just go? Should we go one more round?
We'll go one more round. Why not?
Okay, go for it, Pats.
Yeah. So defense. Listen, this is sticking to what we talked about with the identity of the team. Obviously, those feel like the identity of the team when they won the first three was centered around the defense. So we definitely have a good mix of the past, the present. Well, not really. Most of it is the past. There's not really anybody that was in and that's on the current team now. But so I'll just go in order. So left end, Richard Seymour, 6th pick in the 2001 draft, and the dude was lethal really from day one and was an intricate part of that D line. So always enjoyed seeing him play. He was very disruptive from the beginning and really fit like a glove from day one in Bills defense. Next is the guy who I thought I was going to be because he was, we were both big and that's Vince Wilfork. Yeah, I thought that him in the middle. I mean, he's probably he's got to be top 3 or 4 most athletic defensive tackles really that I've ever seen.
Really nice guy. I chatted to him briefly at the '08 Celtics parade. Really, really
Oh
nice.
yeah,
Yeah. So it was being super cool to all the fans. I just have to shout that out because he was patient and talked to everybody. So I love Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, no, just once again, disruption up the middle. Had good enough hands that if he was around the ball, he could catch it and run it back for a few yards. And yeah, it was just always, it was just durable, right? Like Bill Belichick always talked about your best ability is your availability, and
that's
he was
actually
always
Mike's Bill Belichick quote.
Yes, come on, get your own, dude.
Well, he was always out there, and so that was always good to see for his 10 years here in New England. Next, someone that was on I think the 03 and 04 team, Ted Washington, who was just a man in the middle.
Damn, I remember Big Ted,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Big Ted, let's go.
Big nine too. So he did his thing in the middle and was huge for us in that early dynasty run before us getting Wilfork. So he was awesome. Then to finish up the line, he's probably the most famous Patriot before getting Brady, and that's Andre Tippett. He was on that 85 team that got demolished by Chicago, but he was a big part of the reason why they were there at that time. So he obviously had to make this list. So now to the linebacker core, as Mike brought up earlier in the show, one of Parcells guys, William McGinnis, 4th pick in the '94 draft. Dude made play after play after play. The one that stands out was the goal line stand in Indianapolis, on a 2-yard line to save that game.
After faking an injury.
Say it again.
After faking an injury to get a timeout.
Right. After faking, yeah. So hey, by any means necessary, right? So yeah, he was the guy. Always enjoyed seeing him out there going crazy. One of the next guy is one of my personal favorite Patriots of all time, and that's Dante Hightower. When they were looking for who was going to be the next leader of linebackers after Bruschi and McGinnis and all those guys left, Dante Hightower stepped right in, was the captain of the team, was someone who manned that defense, was very instrumental in the Atlanta comeback. So, he definitely had to make that list. And then last but not least on the linebacker side, it's Teddy Bruschi, right? Teddy Bruschi, once again, not the Parcell guy, but was there for 13 years. Did his thing, obviously fought some health battles, came back, did his thing, was comeback player of the year. And once again, was just a very smart player, was always at the right spot at the right time. So, but this next, last but not least, this is my favorite part of the defense. I think our secondary might be the best of the thing. Once again, collectively, not there's some individuals that's brought up that are better, but just collectively. So see, quarterback 1, Ty Law. They changed rules because of this, man. Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wade were going home crying because they were so fucking physical with them. So
overrated.
Yeah, sure, 3-time champ. Fact, got opinion. So, but Ty Law, amazing. This guy was a mercenary here. He was just here for 1 season, but Darrelle Revis was amazing here in his 1 year here. So it was a Super Bowl 49 champ, but Bill recognized the need, brought over Revis from Tampa Bay, and the rest was history.
He didn't come from the Jets?
No, he was in Tampa Bay for 1 year, then he came to us.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very informative here. So we learn about Bronco and we learn about Tampa Bay to
We're trying to do here. We're trying to learn.
And then at free safety, Devin McCourty. Once again, that 2010 draft was very instrumental to help building the second dynasty here. And McCourty was at the forefront of that. Came on as a punt returner, then, was a corner, did everything on that defense that Bill asked him to do. and made big play after big play. And then as strong safety, one of the hardest hitters. Talk about how Mike Brown was, but Rodney Harrison was a guy that would clean your clock every single time.
Aaron Sharper,
Don't.
one of the hardest hitting safeties in the
Yeah.
league.
That's right. So he would knock you out. Yeah.
Oh
he would
shit!
knock you out if you're cool with that, right? So yeah, that rounds out the defense. So yeah, I think, listen, once again, we stuck true to ourselves, got the big linebackers, got the big linemen, and once again, we're gonna cover you, and we may knock your ass out too. So I'm very pleased with what we put together defensively.
I have questions.
Okay, I'm ready
I
to
ask
answer.
questions in the form of names.
Okay,
Junior Seau.
No,
no, not
of his-
New England.
because of his
not New
Patriot time now.
Mike Vrabel.
Honorable mention. He was on our
Honorable mention,
53-man roster.
Gerard
Yep,
Mayo.
yep.
No,
Honorable mention.
no,
Well, for me,
he
honorable
wasn't that
mention.
good.
Brandon
Wow.
Spikes.
Yeah, he was.
No,
not
also he
Brandon.
was
I
a
like
big
Brandon.
he was a big motherfucker, but
Okay,
like
yeah.
he
Yeah, I think that's all I
Otis
got. I
Smith?
just have a little list here. I had a
No.
little
Over
list here.
Reeves
Bucky-
though? Over Reeves, Bobby?
yeah. I just want
That's true. To Bucky Jones.
to put the one Revis year in perspective. He had 73 targets on him that entire year. He let up 20 catches for an average quarterback rating of 46.7.
Yeah,
Like
I mean-
people just didn't go after him.
No, Revis is great. He was great. I think his
Yeah.
best ever year was not on the Patriots, but I think he was really good
Yeah.
on the Patriots.
Oh
so-
yeah, I mean his 09 year with New York.
Yeah,
was,
the true Revis Island year didn't happen in New England, but he
Yeah.
was awesome that year, and you guys did win a
Yeah.
championship. So I'm not really going to argue that. But yeah, your secondary is really fucking good, actually. But all right, let's hear it, Bob.
All right. So up and down this board, I couldn't believe this defense I was putting together, man. It's just Hall of Famers up and down with a
You did
couple
only pick Cowboys,
modern
though,
day
right? You
selections
sure about
in
that?
here. Yeah, 100%. You'll see.
Okay,
you'll
cool.
see.
Just making
So,
sure. Just making sure.
the end, the man who turned the tide of the NFC solely in the early 90s by switching from 49ers to the Cowboys, and that would be Mr. Charles Haley at defensive end, at the
Mr.
defensive
Five
tackle.
Time.
So just a little background here is we're actually going to be playing a 3-3-6. So I guess, is that a nickel or a dime? It's a nickel, right?
It depends. It depends where you're, if you have a third corner in there or not.
It's the third corner. So yeah. That's nickel,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
nickel.
So we're playing that nickel defense on you guys. We're gonna have lots of speed going. D tackle, Mr. Don't touch the football himself, Leon Lett, shoring up that middle of that line again. One all pro from that early '90s team. He is remembered for that one mistake for sure. But Leon Lett was a
The
fantastic
Bill Buckner of
defensive
Dallas,
tackle.
for God's sake.
He really is, though. He really is. Although that game didn't mean shit, by the way.
Well, yeah, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, at the other D end, one of the greatest D ends of all time, may be the all-time sack leader if they had kept track of sacks the entire time he was
Isn't
playing.
that such bullshit, dude? When I was fucking doing
Yeah.
research for all my Bears guys, like they didn't start keeping track of sacks until like 3
For
seasons.
so long, bro.
It's fucking bullshit. Like, how did you not know that was an important fucking statistic for that long? They can go back. Apparently, they can go back and like build it out. But with the year, I was looking at it today because I was trying to look up sack numbers of some of my guys, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like, it was like the 80s that they started
It is
keeping
the
track
80s.
of sacks.
It is the
fucking
80s, yeah.
nuts. Unfucking believable. Like a real dereliction of duty. Sorry, go on.
That's fine. And that would be Mr. Ed Too Tall Jones at the other D end position.
Man,
Then
your pass
we
rush is
move
almost as
over-
good as mine. That's pretty impressive.
Then, well, we're not done yet, my friend. We ain't done. Then we move over to our left outside linebacker, recent Hall of Famer, one of the best pass rushers of all time, Mr. DeMarcus Ware. Up the middle, we
He's
have
fine.
one of the best middle linebackers of all time, also a tough motherfucker. He's bringing the toughness to this defense, and that would be Chuck Howley. He's from the great Cowboys of years past. Then at the other linebacker, Mr. Modern Day himself, number 11, Micah Parsons,
Is
rounding
it
out
from
the
this
other
year?
side of the
Because
pass rush.
uh,
Last year's Micah. For sure.
just checking.
But so rounding out that pass rush, we got DeMarcus on one side, Micah, and we got Haley and Ed Toothall Jones. Like, you guys are in some trouble there.
Yeah, we're in trouble. Bobby's the only
Secondary.
guy with a rookie on his team, but that's fine.
He's not a rookie.
You said
You
from
just-
last year he was a rookie last year.
Yeah, that's fair. But he was one of the best rookies ever. Anyways,
I'm just fucking with you. Go.
so then we got number 21, prime time himself,
Of course.
Deion Sanders at shutdown corner. Again,
I thought
Turn
you
the
might have put
tide
him a
of
kick
the-
returner. I genuinely thought you might have put him a kick returner. He was
I got
maybe the second best
someone
ever.
special for kick returner.
Okay,
Don't
go.
worry, I got someone special. So then we're gonna play. Like I said, we're playing those three corners. We have Everson Walls at the other corner. One of the greatest corners of all time. I believe he had the most interceptions career-wise for a very long time. And then the guy with the most interceptions in a single season in Cowboys history, Trayvon Diggs. He's playing our nickel, so he'll be coming in. You know, when we need him.
Bobby.
Oh no way! This is not.
Bobby, come on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wait.
This is unbelievable.
That's
Unbelievable. I didn't. This is what I thought. You almost had me. You was going really well, and then go ahead.
What's
Come on.
wrong with Diggs, bro? Come on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, wait. Hang on. Then at our free safety, we are moving him from corner, and we are playing Mel Renfro at free safety, and then we are playing Darren Woodson at strong safety. So I know, Diggs is in there as that third cover guy, but that's because we got Mel Renfro still, one of the best cover guys of all time, shoring up that free safety spot for us.
So
So,
no,
but, like,
Not
Go
no
ahead.
Deion? Come on, man. No Deion Sanders.
No, he said prime
I
time.
did have
He said
Deion, bro.
prime time.
Deion's my
That's why I was freaking out. And I was like, I'm like, there's no way.
bro.
Like,
Come
I-
on.
it should, but because his
Oh.
outrage was not real. I just want to let you know that two of your linchpins in there of your defense have been proven to not show up in the big games. That's Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. So
Yeah.
you're good.
But they have Hall of Famers who are proven
Yeah.
to show up in these moments surrounding that. Okay.
Yeah, but hold on a
So
second.
I'm
Hold on a second.
pretty sure that they'll be
Yeah.
okay
Yeah, well,
given the
I
situation.
mean, it's your own hypothetical. This is like, Bobby, what would you do with $1 million? That's like you being like, I would invest it in safe IRAs. Like, that's just like, it's your own hypothetical. Like, do something like fucking really Diggs. Like, hold on a second. Tell me your corners and your
Come on.
safeties again.
How is Diggs not the risky one?
Because he's been playing for 3 fucking seasons, and you have entire Cowboy careers to choose from. That's first of all. Tell me your corners again. Tell me your corners and your safeties again. Just name them.
So we have Deion Sanders, Everson Walls, Trayvon Diggs, Mel Renfro, Darren Woodson, and that's it.
Where's Cliff Harris? Where's
here.
Terrence Newman?
Terrence Newman, bro.
Where's
Terrence Newman?
Terrence Newman,
So
oh, wow.
much better than Terrence
Where's
Newman.
Roy Williams?
Yo,
Where's Roy Williams?
You guys understand that Trayvon Diggs has the most interceptions in a 2-year career, in a 2-year span in Cowboys history.
He also
It's not like
consistently
listen,
isn't there in your
Listen,
in
if
your
you can
postseason.
pick Ted Washington played for the Patriots for 2 fucking seasons.
All right.
2 fucking seasons.
No, I
right?
know.
So
It's
you
just
can sit
for
here
me-
and say,
for me-
"Oh,
for me,
I
Listen,
just sit here, Deion,
DJ
that's why
Moore,
I was
DJ
like-
Moore's been on the Bears for 1 fucking year, bro.
awesome though.
So you guys can sit
I
here.
just-
and be
I
like,
just had the
Trayvon
dig-
Diggs.
the
No,
dig-
no, listen,
that's
he
fine.
had the most interceptions.
It's difficult
in
for me to
Cowboys
believe. It's difficult
history
for me to
last
believe.
year.
It's difficult for me to believe that you couldn't go and find. I mean, just off the top of my head, those are guys I could think of. But there's difficult for me to believe you couldn't find better guys than fucking Trayvon Diggs to play in your secondary. That seems
I
crazy.
just wanted him on my fucking
So,
team.
one-
All right?
one-
If
that's
I
fair.
want
One-
Trayvon Diggs on my team, I can put him on my team.
Gotcha.
No, of course.
One guy I did think about though too, because unless you named him and I missed it, because I guess apparently I'm becoming deaf. Is what about Hollywood Henderson? Does it get love on here? He's from the 70s, played with Dorsett and them guys. He was a linebacker.
He's googling him right now.
I don't remember him. I
The
wasn't.
Oh,
I wasn't.
yeah,
on-
Henderson
linebacker
really
core
good.
was-
He was real good.
Listen, the linebacker core is all about the speed and the pass rush, my friend.
Did you
And
put
then Howie
Darren
up the
Woodson in
middle
there?
with the tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Strong
Darren
safety.
Woodson.
Darren Woodson was good. Yeah, Darren Woodson was he was real good. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
at least primetime made it in there.
Yeah.
I don't know
Put it
how
either
you
way.
guys can just be hating on this just because of
No.
Diggs.
I'm not.
Like,
I'm not
come on.
hating on it. I'm
Bro,
not hating on
he
it.
had
It's
one
just
of the
for me-
best seasons a quarterback's ever had.
No.
Yeah,
I'm not
ever
hating on it.
had.
I don't think
Literally.
he's a bad. I don't think he's a bad corner. I just think that in that same season, he racked up those interceptions, and then I watched him get cooked for like an entire half of a season. But that was just me watching it with my eyes and brain. But like that's
But
fine.
that's as a corner one. He's our nickel now. So all he's going to be doing.
You don't even have any reference of him playing nickel corner. Like,
but it doesn't
you're
matter.
just guessing that he can play that position.
You put him in this situation, bro, and it's gonna work.
No, I can see the theory. I can see the theory. Can we all just agree?
You give him the opportunity. You tell him, see ball, get ball. You don't got to cover. You know what I mean? Every once in a while you do, but you're not the lockdown guy. You ball hawk days. That's all you do.
So become Jerron Glenn
all day.
I think
long,
every time you give him a piece of zone coverage, Tom Brady and Randy Moss are just gonna drool. Like I just think Randy Moss is just gonna fucking destroy him every single goddamn time. I don't know. Maybe I've never really rated.
He's never gonna cover Randy Moss.
They're gonna get Moss switched on him. That's why Moss was so fucking good on the Patriots, dude. They always got him in positions where guys that could
but you also remember I have like 7 defensive backs, so we can just cover Moss all over the fucking.
Nobody could ever cover Moss.
There's a reason I've got all the
cover Randy Moss when no one was ever able to ever.
But he's gonna do what he did to
That's why I have so many goddamn defensive backs.
No,
reason I have so many.
I think my issue with it is I really do think my issue with it is like I think it's a me problem with Diggs and with the way that I bought into that Cowboys team over the last couple of years, and him being sort of the face of that defense folding to me. I think is like why I have an issue with it. Like, I'm like, you can't got a better third corner than fucking Trayvon Diggs. Did you guys never draft any corners? Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's just my opinion. I'm sure it's not even, objectively correct. I think we can all agree that Bobby has the worst defense of the three of us. Can we all?
Yeah.
He might. I think you have a better offense than me.
Okay.
I genuinely believe you have a better offense than me. Maybe not on the ground, but I think your defense is 3 all time. Now we're going to talk now about matchups. I'd rather play your all-time Cowboys team than the all-time Patriots team that they mentioned, personally. Just from the way I built my team. I'm not saying it's a bad team by any stretch.
Kickers, punters, special teams.
Oh fuck! Of course, I forgot about the most important part of my team. Oh, gentlemen.
Because without this, your team's not winning.
Like literally your best weapon. Literally.
That's not true. Walter Payton's my best weapon. He's one of the best running backs of all time. But
you're right.
Of course.
Oh, second best weapon.
Of course, you have to mention Robbie Gould is going to be my kicker, just so you guys know. Mr. Consistency. Watched him kick for a long time. He can kick a 60-yarder, but he'll consistently make your 35 pluses. He was clutch. He had crazy good longevity. Brad Maynard is my punter. I don't know if you guys remember him. I picked him because he was my punter for that great mid 2000s Bears special teams and defense that we had. He threw a touchdown pass to Brian Urlacher, which is one of my fondest memories as a Bears fan. He had a lot of trick plays actually, and he was a really, really good punter. I actually have his punting stats pulled up. They're like kind of weirdly impressive. He was an All-Pro a few times. He played for the Giants, the Bears, the Texans, the Browns, but he played for the longest for the Bears. He has 56,000 punting yards, which is really high up on the all-time list, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. He kicked a 75-yard punt once, which is pretty good. And he was a real good coffin corner guy. So special teams are going to be a big part of my team, obviously, because the only 2 teams, and Bobby, I don't mean to shit on the Cowboys. I think it's a very good Cowboys team, but the only 2 teams in this draft that have the definitive best ever player at their position are the New England Patriots with their quarterback, Tom Brady, obviously, and the definitive best kick and punt returner in the history of the sport, to the point where they had to, if we're talking about changing fucking rules, they purposely fucking changed the rules so Devin Hester couldn't cook teams anymore.
Well, I will say, to give credit, Dion is the best corner ever. So he does have a guy that is better than everybody else. Dion is not. He is the best corner ever. It's not. There is no debate for that.
I think that he's the best athlete to ever play cornerback. I think that that's true. I think that it would be a different show, but I think we could maybe argue. We could maybe make some arguments for some other pure cornerbacks in that position. I think he's probably the best athlete to play cornerback, though. That's fair enough. I'll give you that one. But just so we don't go down a rabbit hole of arguing about that, because we spent so long talking about, of all people, Trayvon Diggs. But I just really did not see that. I did not have that one on my fucking bingo card. But anyway, Devin Hester. obviously he was Mr. Highlight. I don't know if you guys, I don't know what your experience was watching him or how much of his participation in that, especially that 06 season, kind of reached you as a kick returner. But if you go and watch his highlights, they're still as entertaining to watch now as they were to watch in real time. He returned the opening kick of a Super Bowl for a touchdown. He brought, essentially, he was so good at returning kicks that he got Rex Grossman to a Super Bowl. That's how good he was at returning kicks. That season, he returned 2 kicks in that comeback win against the Cardinals, which resulted in that great, the Bears are who we thought they were, soundbite. He was the first man to ever return a short field goal against the Giants, which is now in Bears history return titled the no go play, because Lovie Smith was like, stay where you are, and then he took off, and of course he fucking ran it back. The collective world couldn't believe that the Indianapolis Colts kicked it to him, and they were, by the way, statistically the worst special teams at stop on returns that year. And for some reason, they kicked it to Devin Hester, the absolute fucking highlight reel that he was. Brian Urlacher was my favorite ever Bear for obvious reasons. But I have such a deep abiding love for Devin Hester that really can't be touched, that I didn't even really remember until he was just this past inductee year, inducted into the Hall of Fame as a kick returner. Because he was, goddamn, his hands were like fucking Orlando Jones's hands in the replacements. He just could not fucking catch the ball to save his life. I wish Stickum wasn't illegal, but he would have been one of the best wide receivers ever. But what I always said about Devin Hester, which I think may be controversial here, I think he was the single best downhill runner in the history of the sport. I think if you gave that guy 10 yards before he started getting the tackles attempted on him, you were fucked. So it was more surprising to see him not return a punt or a kick for a touchdown than it was to see him actually do it. It was the most fun I ever had watching the Chicago Bears was when he was on my team. So good luck, everybody. Kick me the fucking ball. He's dynamic as fuck. And actually, I heard he's Sid Luckman's best friend on the team. So we're making progress.
Great.
Your special teams, guys, please.
Yeah. So we
Not
can't
gonna let it go.
I would say respectively,
That's got to be a
can't-
clip. I don't care. It's got to be a clip.
we can't touch your kick returner. Like,
Can I
that
guess
can't
your
happen.
kick returner? Can I guess your kick
Yeah.
returner? Is it Troy Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
It should be. As it
I-
should be.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Troy
Yeah.
Brown, he was never the Devin Hester, obviously. Like that's your secret weapon.
Still
But
had some
Troy Brown,
huge fucking returns, though. Especially
when it mattered, especially that 0-1 game against the Steelers in the playoffs, like he single-handedly turned the momentum of that game back into the Patriots' favor. He did that throughout the course of his returning career. We knew that you were going to pick Devin Hester, and we fully envision us playing you in this make-believe Super Bowl. So our punter, by the way, is going to be Tom Tupa. The reason that Tom Tupa is our punter is because during the course of his time with New England Patriots, no other kicker averaged further distance and fewer returns. So he would just kick it far and out of bounds. So we're going to try and nullify Devin Hester on the punt. But you also mentioned we have the greatest of all time. For quarterback, you have the obviously the best running back that we listed.
I agree about Vinatieri, but I mean, he also built half that greatest of all time in Indianapolis. Just putting that out there.
Sure. But I would argue that between 1996 and 2006, there was never.
I mean, he hit the most.
clutch
He hit the most clutch
that he-
field goals in
that
the
he missed.
Super Bowl. So yeah, I can't argue.
So yeah, so
And maybe the
Adam Vinatieri is
best
gonna be
kick
our
I've ever
kicker.
seen. The two
And
best
this-
kicks I've ever seen.
Yeah, against Oakland in the Snow Bowl, like that. There's just he
And then
should
it
have been
was
a Hall of
wait,
Famer.
the
correct,
type-
correct me if I'm wrong. It was Carolina, winning
Underrated
kick,
kick too, though.
right? Carolina.
Yeah.
He had the winning kick, and
Yep.
And the
and
Rams,
who was
yeah.
the other? Who was it? Was the Rams?
The-
Oh, one
and
was
the
there a
Rams,
third
yeah.
one?
And theoretically, no, it was the Rams the first one, Carolina the second one, and then the Eagles. We did win by 3, but he didn't kick that to win the game. We were already
Got it.
And that Titans kick too. I was at that game, bro, and that was the coldest day I've ever experienced in my life. And he kicked like a 48-yard field goal in that temperature. And that field goal, that ball must have been a goddamn rock that he was
Yep.
kicking. It
if
was
I could
so
just
fucking
speak-
cold that day.
about how important Vinatieri was to the Patriots, because the year after they let him go and they drafted Gostkowski in that Super Bowl against the Giants, Bill elected to not kick a 44-yard field goal and to punt it because he didn't trust his rookie kicker. If we'd still had Adams,
Gostkowski
who
was
knows
a
what would have
Pretty
happened.
good kicker over the course.
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean-
Gostkowski actually ended up being more accurate than
Not more clutch though.
Yeah, not more clutch. Yeah, but so he Gostkowski had this nice little run too, but it doesn't compare to what.
Would it be fair to
Vinatieri
say
was.
that Vinatieri is the most clutch kicker in the history of the game, but,
Yes.
but Tucker is the best?
Yes, agreed.
Yeah,
Like, I think he has
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah.
leg plus his longevity. Like, I would take
Yep.
Vinatieri if the game's on the line. Obviously, you'd be an idiot not to. But I think if you're looking to get like a weird circus, like 64-yard kick through the fucking uprights, like Justin Tucker's probably your man, right?
Yeah. 100%.
So, I mean, at least there's some argument there. There's people out there in the world that might come on this podcast and say, no, it's Justin Tucker, blah, blah, blah. He kicked this fucking, I still take Vinatieri. I was there, so I'm biased. But yeah, I mean, cool. I think your special team is pretty stacked. Bob?
So kicker, tough go for the Cowboys for kickers. It has been for a really fucking long time. So I got Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey's the most reliable guy I could think of off the top of my head. The only other one,
You could have Googled it. I mean, there wasn't no.
I know, but I was trying to think of him, and it was just Dan Bailey's the guy I had to go to. Punter. This is kind of a special selection for me because of this lethal pass rush that you have over here, DK. My punter is going to be a dude who doubled as a quarterback and a punter for his entire career, and that is Mr. Danny White, who led the Cowboys to an NFC Championship game, but also made a couple Pro Bowls as a punter during his career. So he will be my punter, backup quarterback as well. And then our kick returner will be a Olympic sprinter. I believe he won a silver or gold medal at some point. Bob the Bullet Hayes will be returning kicks for us. I couldn't quite fit him in that 88 club, but we got him returning kicks. So
It's
we
a good
got
kick
some
return 'cause
pretty
it's too
solid
bad
kick
you can't-
returners on our board here, guys.
The rules do fuck you when it comes to kick returners because obviously Dion would be returning your kicks if you
Right.
were to put him in two different positions. I just want to reiterate that only because if anyone's screaming at their stereo right now at you, going like, "Why don't you just have Deion Sanders return the fucking kicks?" I'm like, that's because we made the rule beforehand that you couldn't repeat. So, I couldn't have Mike Ditka be my tight end / head coach. You couldn't have Deion Sanders be your kick returner / cornerback. It just / wide receiver / also goes and plays baseball on the weekend. The fucking 3-point contest winner, whatever other fucking bullshit.
Right, crazy.
To be like the best athlete that ever lived. But yeah, just so everybody knows, I just wanted to interject that because that would be the obvious choice, right? If you could,
Obviously.
3 pretty stacked teams, guys. I really enjoyed this exercise, and I want to just do the rock, paper, scissors of the 3 teams. Obviously, we're all biased in the sense of like, I think my team would win. You think your team would win, whatever. But just what I would love to do is I would like to have Mike and Ray talk about the challenges that their team is going to have against our teams. And then I'll do the same for both of yours. And then I'll have Bobby do the same. So we'll make it complimentary just to actually get the juices flowing on the conversation, because otherwise it's going to just be like, no, because I have fucking Tom Brady. And that was a Rayshawn impression, by the way. Did I nail it? Just kidding. You know what I mean, though, right? I mean, it's like, I just think we should say, but it's like in the part of the presidential debates where they say, like, can you say something nice about the other candidate? Right. But we'll start with Ray and Mike. What do you guys think is going to be the trouble you have with both me and Bobby's teams? And don't say Trayvon Diggs.
Well, none, because I have fucking Tom Brady. But
see, nailed it.
I do think because Brady, for a majority of his career, well, really all of his career, was stationary. So for you guys to have the guys you have up front, that's pretty fucking scary, honestly. So I mean, there might be some more sacks than 4 allowed that we talked about. So, and then obviously, Dion would be a problem. Seeing Peanuts Hillman on Edelman, maybe punching a ball.
Seeing Randy Moss versus Deion Sanders in a 1-on-1 is like mouth-watering.
Unreal, right?
Who wins that?
We saw Thanksgiving Day in '98, and Randy Moss went to work. But
we're talking
later, Dion. No.
Yeah, prime to prime though. It's
unreal.
A different story, right? Like
prime like 95 Dion though, 94.
No,
Dion.
I feel you, but I mean, it was tough. We didn't get prime Randy. He was 30, 31 by the time he got to us. But yeah,
that's
I think
also true.
I think just the pass rush that both teams have, obviously with Hester being who he was, even Bob Hayes, like Bob Hayes in his day, was a man amongst boys. So I do think we would have to find a way to get a lot of points offensively, because if not, it could be a long night.
I think DK's team does a better job of negating what we have as strengths, right? Because it's going to be Brady's going to have like 3 seconds, maybe 3 seconds to make 3 reads and get rid of the ball because he's going to get killed. So that's going to take away either Gronk or Ben Coates because they're going to have to stay back to block.
I think we know
Whereas,
who it's going to be.
right, like whereas I think the running game against the Cowboys, I think we could do pretty well. And I think especially play action, especially with your boy Trayvon Diggs, who got cooked by Mac Jones. He'll get absolutely cooked by Tom Brady. So I'm worried about the Bears, man. I really am. And I think the offense, by the way, of the Cowboys is a little bit formidable, more formidable than the Bears. I think it would be hard for us to I don't think it's going to be hard for us to stop Mr. Luckman and his passing bliss.
That man saw the Second World War unfold. Okay.
Right. But I think the interesting part about it is that your team, DK, is definitely ground and pound. And I don't think Bobby's is. And I think I think that his passing attack would obviously give our corners a little bit more stress.
Yeah, I think I would say on Bobby's team, the thing that jumped out at me right away was if we don't get to Aikman, which I have a feeling we could, but if we don't get to Aikman quickly, there's a possibility that with the weapons that, like Troy Aikman, I don't think was, we've had this conversation. We had this conversation early on about Troy Aikman and the kind of quarterback that he was. The criticisms that you can really genuinely level at Troy Aikman when he's mentioned in the same breath as you have these fights based on a conversation comparing him to other great quarterbacks, right? You're not comparing Troy Aikman to fucking Rex Grossman, right? You're comparing him to the other greats, and maybe he falls short if you're talking about a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning or something. But the biggest criticism I always heard about Troy Aikman was he was a man kind of built by his weapons, and in this scenario, he's got so many fucking weapons to throw to. And I think the thing that would really worry me, and this is what I think the Bears' sort of entire identity is always built on. If we don't get to him, I think he has a good chance of cooking us in the secondary. I think that would be the thing I would really worry about. I think we can stop their run. It doesn't seem like Bobby's team is really built on the run anyway, so I think they're fine with that. But I think Troy Aikman, if we can't, I don't remember him being, and again, I mean, I was a child, but I don't remember him being easy to rattle. Like a big part of pressure is affecting the QB's game when you don't get to him, right? Like just knowing that, and I think the same thing is true of Tom Brady. It's like, even if we hit him 4 or 5 times, you're not going to be able to Russell Wilson him. You know what I mean? He's not going to shit himself in the pocket after you get to him. Like he's going to still stay there, and he's going to still cook you if you play any sort of zone against him. Really, really difficult wide receivers I would actually, funny enough, just based on how my Bears team is constituted, I think I would rather see your guys as wide receivers than Bobby's, just based on how the team is built, because I have to put a ton of one-on-ones together, and I'd rather see I think Peanut Tillman could fucking shut down Julian Edelman with his eyes closed personally. So I think it's just perfect. I switch him on every single time. I think we can get some turnovers. But then again, Tom Brady's throwing him the fucking ball, right? So it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, my entire game is sink or swim. Like, I'm either going to beat you guys with either one of your teams scoring like 10 points or less, or you're going to put up fucking 40 points on my team because I got to get to that QB, right? I'm definitely stopping the run, but it doesn't seem how you guys are built. So yeah, I'm definitely scared of your weapons. Both sets of weapons are very difficult, I think, to deal with. As far as the defense goes, I would rather see Bobby's defense only because you guys have all those linebackers. Like you have 4 linebackers I wouldn't want to see that you didn't even mention, right? And obviously my whole team is built on trying to move the ball on the ground. And funny enough, the fucking 85 Patriots shut down Walter Payton in the Super Bowl. I mean, we still cooked you guys, but the entire game plan was like, just make sure Walter Payton doesn't fuck you up, right? So, and they did. They shut him down. That was their whole game plan, and it worked. He didn't even score a touchdown in that Super Bowl. So I think that'd be really difficult to deal with. I think Bobby's edge rush is maybe wasted on my team because I'm not going to be throwing the ball that much, if I'm being 100% honest with you. So I think your edge rushers are going to be.
I'll go let's hit it, rip it. Like I'll say, rip it down the field.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, my quarterback has a leather helmet on, so I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him standing in the pocket for too long. But yeah, I do think I have a great respect, honestly, a great respect for both sets of teams. It's a little difficult because, and I think Bobby, you maybe even feel this way too, is we watch so many of the guys that they mentioned. Like we watch so fucking many of the guys we mentioned, mainly because you can't really name any good Patriots prior to 2001, but it's because those guys were all fucking unbelievable, and I have genuine game tape in my head of watching the Rodney Harrisons of the world, of watching the Tom Brady's of the world, of watching the Wes Walkers or the Julian Edelmans of the world. Same thing. So, that being said, I think I have this kind of built-in reverence for this Patriots team, which I was expecting. But that being said, yeah, I mean, Bobby, your team's sink or swim too. Like if you're not putting up 40+ yard throws on every down, then I don't know what you're doing, but I like it. You went all in, and that's how you are, and that's what we love about you. So I have a great reverence and respect for both your teams. Honestly, I really enjoyed building my team because I liked the DNA that I was able to put together on the team. But yeah, those would be 3 really good games. Bob,
I think we'd struggle against the Bears. That's looking over these teams. It would either, just because when you see every year in the NFL,
it's just because of Khalil Mack and Julius Peppers. That's the biggest thing. Everyone went like, holy shit.
Well, it's like, but like you said, bro, it's your offense versus our defense is like, you have the power offense and I got the finesse defense. And that's what we're going for. Because if I'm being honest, if I set my team up to beat anyone, it's the fucking Patriots.
Yeah.
That's for fucking sure. That's what I was going for. We're trying to beat.
That might be the most entertaining game to watch. It would be the Pats versus the Cowboys all time because it's a throw fest, right? It's a modern day NFL game. Like it's full on. There's going to be 4 handoffs across both teams in that game. Yeah. So that would be a lot of fun, I think.
Well, that's when it comes to Mike and Ray's team, man. That's where I was at, man. And the big thing I think that we would struggle with the Pats is obviously fucking Tom Brady. That's what it comes down to against that team, because I really think our offense would be able to beat your guys' defense just because, like I said, we have the weapons. And if push comes to shove, you guys decide to shut down all 3 of them, even though Bill's all about only shutting down one. You shut down all 3 of them. I still have Emmitt Smith in the backfield that we can technically still hand it off to with Moose leading the way. So,
that's so good with how to shut down.
Right.
Would be, but then we still got the 88 clubs on the outside.
Yeah. So
I think the thing about it is, like, I think the thing that you can see with that all-time Patriots team once it's laid out in front of you is it's the scariest group for me on either side of the ball, with the obviously exception of Brady. The scariest group is that linebacker core for the Pats. And I think that the way that Bobby has his Dallas team set up, I'm not sure that the linebackers could impact the game as much as they're usually able to impact the game because of the kind of wide receivers that Bobby has, because all their breaking routes are going to happen at the 20 yards away from the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? Like Michael Irvin's not even taking a corner route until he's 20 yards away from the fucking line of scrimmage. So,
and it's like, even if you do focus on them too, that means all your corners and safeties are on the out. And then we still got Mr. Reliable Jason Witten that you can throw those 10-yard down.
I think what would happen, I think what would happen though, and I think the X factor we're not talking about is that they have Belichick, and as far as because
that is the X factor,
they just mentioned that, where it's like, I think what they would do, quite honestly, like you're saying, like, oh, they would just take it away by doing this. I don't think so. I think what they would do is I think you would see the Patriots offense on the field for like 80% of that game. That's what I think would happen. I think Brady would just be like, I'm going to score a touchdown when I'm ready. Like, I think, because I saw him do that for years, just years and years. Like, I just that's how the Chiefs won a Super Bowl this year. And I think they took it from the Patriots playbook, where it's like Pat Mahomes is just on the field as long as he wants to be on the fucking field. You know what I mean? Like those drives are 10, 15 fucking minutes long of game time. And I think that's probably what they would do. I think he would just have Tom Brady beat you. And I think he'd probably have Tom Brady beat me too. That's just the way it is. We're trying to kill him. That's the only difference. The Bears are just trying to murder Tom Brady. He'd probably just send one of his clones in, right after that, that he's been paying for years. Or maybe he'd use some of the bones that he shaved off his jawline to inject it right back in.
Oh my God.
Have him with him, yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it is difficult. And It's a closer 3 teams than I thought it was going to be, but it really is difficult to go against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
But I'd like to. I mean, obviously, it's hypothetical, which makes it so fun. But like, I would love to see Gronk block against Singletary.
Yeah.
Or
That's the whole thing, right? When you're looking at those matchups,
you know what I'm saying? Like, because he's not
so
throwing
fun,
he's not throwing Singletary off the club,
No.
as Gronk would say. So that would be a nice battle to see. Just like once again,
DK,
Jesus Hall Jones get to Tom and his career for that night. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, can Willie McGinnis stop Emmitt Smith at the 2-yard line? Like that's what we want to see.
He'd probably hold him and then what's Sid Luckman's career long pass? I'm curious.
He was actually known as the best long passer of his generation. I would just like that.
It doesn't answer the question. It doesn't answer the question.
Well, I mean, he's it's a difficult thing to look up as far as like the kind of stats that they were putting. But let me look here. 85 yards, 86 yards.
Okay.
86 yards.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Sid.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the asshole. Okay.
No. I mean, it's okay. I think I do.
What does the Gale Sayers?
Yeah, right. The different areas, but I think that I think that the difficult part with this is you have to. We did have the rule of like the eras don't matter because they would matter up until the fucking 90s, right? Like the kind of athletes that you have over the last 20 years, the guys that played before them aren't competing with them. Like there's just no way. Like especially from the pool that you're pulling from. But I wonder if those guys born in this era. You know what I mean? Like you end up getting into the weeds with those conversations, and you're just sort of like, well, just pick your best guys. I think I do see the humor in the Sid Luckman pick because the Bears have never had a good quarterback. I was this close to making it Jay Cutler because I think he's the most talented Bears quarterback I ever saw. Obviously, he had some issues with his brain.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
Well, is it though? Because I think Jay Cutler would be a top 10 QB.
He was really good. He was good.
Yeah.
He was good.
I think that the reason we remember Jay in the way that we do is twofold. One is he had sort of a fuck it attitude about a lot of things, and two, he quit in the NFC Championship game against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. He fucking quit.
Right.
And like that was when he was dead to me. Like that was watching. Like I was sitting in fucking basements in Massachusetts, being like yelling at my friends, like he's got a bigger fucking arm than Tom Brady. I'll tell you that much. Like I was fucking screaming, for Jay Cutler.
He did.
Yeah, he did. And I was yelling for Jay Cutler. And quite frankly, that like after 2010, probably 13 to 15 Bears squad was sick. Like we had a lot of really good fucking players, and I really thought we were going to win a Super Bowl that year when we were running away with it in the NFC. All Cutler had to do was not pussy out against Aaron Rodgers, and to have it be Aaron Rodgers as well. That's sort of but I will say this: like Aaron Rodgers got one Super Bowl, and he almost lost to our backup QB in the NFC Championship game. It was pretty close. I blacked out on Mr. Boston's vodka that night, and broke up with my girlfriend.
Mr. Boston vodka.
Yeah, broke up with my girlfriend at the time, and punched a hole in the wall of my dorm room, and woke up the following day and had to find out who won and who lost. I had a good idea who won and who lost the game because of my condition. I was screaming Bears D at a set of commercials, but I have no memory of this whatsoever. But we were young men. We were in college when that NFC Championship game happened. And I will say, I think Jay Cutler was talented, but yeah, he died to me that day. I was never going to forgive him for that. I wanted that whole team blown up once that happened, but he was pretty talented. He really was pretty talented. He was good in Denver, but yeah, obviously the memes, the memes don't help. The Smoke and Jay memes don't help.
Yeah, the only
like let's be honest, he's kind of a fucking tool. Like that's the problem.
For sure. The only day he was happy was the day he signed that $120 million extension.
But we were in that position. We had to.
No, I know, I get it. But I'm saying like you never see him smile on the sideline. Never. No. They get to the press conference. Congrats. I mean, granted, I would have fucking smiled too. But it was just like
I don't know. The thing is I think he had all the talent in the world. He just wasn't enough of a competitor. You know what I mean? Like if you put him right next to Tom Brady. I think if they did a prime to prime combine and you didn't know who those guys were, every single person that watched them play would say that Jay Cutler was a better QB. But that's a ludicrous fucking thing to say once you compare their careers, right? So, the brain matters. The like what you do above the neck fucking matters. That was sort of the lesson of the Jay Cutler era. And we'll see, we'll see what happens.
Good life lesson.
Bears have never had
a good life lesson.
The Bears
Yeah,
have never had a
look
good
at his numbers now. Like he still threw for 35,000 yards, had over
Yeah.
200 touchdowns. Like
I think he's more fucking talented than Troy Aikman. I'll tell you that much. But
Those
again,
are better
I mean,
stats than Troy Aikman. Those are better stats than Troy
Yeah.
Aikman.
That's the thing, man. I mean,
Bro, I
it's
was
like
looking-
it's
his
such a
stats are-
weird thing. It's such a weird thing. It's like I don't really want to defend Jay Cutler, but like you have to win as a QB in the NFL. You got to win. Otherwise, you don't matter. At the end of the day, the way that we measure the metric of good quarterbacks means that Trent Dilfer is a better quarterback than Jay Cutler, even though he isn't, but he is. You know what I mean? So that's where it is. You know, them's the breaks. You know, sorry, dude. Dan Marino doesn't get talked about anymore. When we were kids, people used to still talk about Dan Marino. Like people used to say Montana, fucking Johnny Unitas, fucking Dan Marino. Like these names would be the ones kind of circling around before we visited that era of Breeze, Manning, Brady, right? Marino was always in the conversation. Now you never hear his fucking name mentioned anymore. You just don't. And is he as talented as Joe Montana and Tom Brady? Probably, but he didn't win. That's, you know, it's a tough road. They're all millionaires. I don't feel bad for them. So for myself, for the real BK Bob Kelly and his all-time Dallas Cowboys team, including for I'm just kidding. He would be a really good nickel corner. I'm just fucking with you. For Hollywood Ray Sean Buchanan and Michael Marcangelo and their all-time Patriots team, they should have just said Tom Brady and stopped drafting, but here we are. For myself and the all-time Chicago Bears, even if my quarterback has some problematic views about equality, it has been missing the point. And we'll be back with this series, I think, where I think we should draw names out of a hat maybe and just pick random ass teams and do this draft again because I had a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Hey there, I'm DC. I host the rock podcast, Back to the Arena, The Interviews. It's about a 30-minute podcast where I talk one-on-one with a band who has released new music. You can find us on all the best podcast sites like Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and more. If you're a rock fan like me, subscribe today to Back to the Arena, The Interviews.
Electricast. Step inside the marketing mirror to uncover marketing secrets, discover gems, tactics, lessons, and campaigns you can use, next gen or fundamentals. Grab the marketing magic to improve your marketing and win more business. Electricast. Electricast.